So it almost seems to me that we almost need AI to help us decide which of all these threats we're being warned about in this fire hose, and which, I mean, it's easy to say low-hanging fruit, you should patch all your systems. Well, if you have thousands of applications of different versions running on-prem, in cloud virtual machines, it's very hard to just say, oh, okay, there's a new patch out from Oracle. Let's just go install it. It's not that easy. And can AI help here?
I think AI has to help here. Right? I think the only way that these systems ultimately become safe is through the use of artificial intelligence. There's too much data for humans to traverse, to find patterns, to really keep up with the kinds of things that are happening on networks. So, we call it to some degree like emergency room syndrome. Like if you're a doctor in the emergency room, there's always some alarm going off, right? And to the extent that a lot of doctors just turn off the alarms on machines that actually could be really important to the patient. And similarly, that happens in security centers, right? So we have to find ways to use various forms of AI to bring down the number of alerts so that we can actually act on the ones that matter. And that's the goal of all these systems, and that's really why AI must play a role in this space.
So one of the big movements in the last few years in the security space has been security orchestration, which right now is mainly being driven by people inside of the organization creating the policies and rules and automation that they want. A natural evolution of that will be AI-driven security orchestration, which will peer you into your kind of neighboring organizations, same tech, same geographic region, and try to optimize for it in that way. So I do think AI will play a role when you're talking about having limited resources. You're going to have to prioritize with AI.
When I talk to CISOs, one of the things that they talk about is it's really hard to keep their staff. It's really hard to find and hire good security workers. It's very hard to keep them because so much of that work is repetitive. So what you were saying about the hospital alarms, you get security staff just wading through page after page of alerts. They're going to just be bored and quit, and I think that's where the machine learning really comes in. Can any of you or all of you talk about how AI is going to change the job of the security practitioner, the people like we have here? Is AI something that they need to learn, or should they trust that you guys will build it into your products and services, and they don't need to worry about it any more than they need to worry about building the anti-lock brake system? They just need to know that there's one in their car.
So I had a similar question asked actually by a reporter on the thing, and my answer to them was I don't believe that the standard security practitioner needs to understand machine learning. I think they need to test products and make sure the products, solutions, whatever you want to call them, are going to solve the problem that they're trying to solve today. In the past, maybe it wasn't machine learning, and maybe in the future it will be using machine learning, or today it's using machine learning, but it's still solving a specific problem they're trying to do. I don't think it's going to change their job, notably with the exception that now they can focus on what's important instead of focusing on things that maybe isn't important. I think it was Verizon that brought up a breach report that said less than 5% of alerts actually get looked at, so the other 95% are completely ignored. So if you can say that those 5% that you are looking at actually matter, and the other 95% that you're actually ignoring aren't being ignored, but they're being looked at by AI and they're just not important, then to me it's not a fundamental change in what you're doing, but it's a fundamental change in focus of what you're actually paying attention to, which is the important stuff.
I mean, I personally think that the space will get disrupted, and the skill sets that people should try to attain should be more focused on areas that AI can't displace easily, where, you're talking about 40 years or 20 years out that, those positions might be displaced. If someone's in security and they're just, pushing a button, AI is going to very easily disrupt that kind of a position. So I feel like, it's in, every security professional's best interest to understand that you don't have to be able to build models and develop new machine learning algorithms. You just have to understand it, figure out the best space to be in, with AI emerging in the security space.
I might be a little more cynical on the future of AI and how it's going to help cybersecurity. I feel like anyone who's buying a security solution should know enough about AI or ML to be able to figure out if the person who is selling them the tool, if it's actually got it in there or if it's hot air. Because
that never happened.
The testing of products is a pernicious problem in security for all software products, and it's even worse for security software products, especially the ones that have decisioning technology in them that is not necessarily going to operate in a way that a human would predict it would. So I think that I feel like machine learning and AI, they kind of add a little bit of a kick to existing solutions that are dumber or slower without it. So I think that it will change. There will still be a lot of hard work done to get the right controls in place, and that what I hope happens is that folks spend a lot less time running down alerts that they didn't need to look at and such, and they are able to focus more on what matters. I like that as an idea, but I'm not sure how much. It's not magic, right? So there's still all of the hard work of architecting and operating these systems that needs to be done. It's just hopefully they will perform better and they will scale better, and then some people will be able to sleep at all.
So you're saying that you don't see AI as a silver bullet, it's just another tool?
Yeah, I'm all out of silver bullets.
All out of silver bullets.
But it is useful.
You can crowdfund for silver bullets.
I'm starting up a silver bullet foundry.
There we go. So I have one last question, and then we'll go out for your questions. So I don't know how many of you have made this association with a movie, but in the Terminator series, Skynet was turned on, as you remember in that movie, to solve a security problem that the military was having, the missile command, or whatever it was, I think it was Air Force. And so they reluctantly, the general reluctantly was told to turn on Skynet to solve and track down what was hacking the system. Turned out, of course, it was Skynet itself, and then it was Terminator time. So, and we certainly have a few people here in Silicon Valley who have made a great deal of hay about the fact that AI is bad, 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 bad. And what do you guys think about that, especially in terms of the security domain? Not necessarily it's going to become sentient and take over, but is there a possibility that AI could be misused, or perhaps even by malicious actors, and turned against us? What if someone subverts the software that's analyzing all the log files and it's ringing the wrong alarm bells? What do you guys think? I'm paranoid.
So software doesn't inherently have ethics, and AI is inherently an optimization tool, right? So if you give something with no ethics the ability to optimize whatever it wants, maybe it won't turn out so well. So I think we do have to do some things we have to think about some things as we create these systems and decide how much autonomy they have. But I think we're so far from that being our reality. I mean, we are way closer to Scotty and dilithium crystals than we are to HAL 9000 and, you know, killing people on board to save the ship, right? So I think it's going to be quite some time before this matters in any real way, but I do think it's important to talk about, because there are systems today that are being developed, like autonomous driving systems, right? So there's a perfect optimization example, right? If you got a car with 2 people in it and a car with 4 people in it, and they're going to have a crash, and they know they're going to have a crash, and one can do something to prevent the other occupants from dying, like it might choose to kill the people with 2 people in the car versus 4, but what if it's a mother and kid and 4 old people, right? There's tons of ethical things that are happening that we have to think about, and it's happening today. So those are ethical choices that the AI may have to make sooner than later. So it is real.
Yeah, and so before the other panelists comment, how many of you remember the movie I, Robot? And a major part of that was the cop, Spooner, being angry because of exactly the situation. Cars went into the water. The robot could only rescue one, a little girl or a cop. And for whatever reason, it chose the cop. The girl died, and he hated robots after that because he insisted that it made the wrong moral choice. But instead, it even said it like ran the numbers and the probabilities, and you can't make moral decisions based on math. So didn't mean to cut everyone off, but
no, so future, yeah, absolutely. There's things that have to be thought about, right? I have a car that can technically auto drive and is far from auto driving. Let me tell you. So they may have technology, but it's not being distributed to me yet. My opinion is I have customers that lose records. They'll lose 100 million records, yet they still don't want to block anything. They just want to know if it happens again. They still don't want to mitigate it. If you're turning on AI or some form of machine learning or something else, you're effectively saying, I'm going to put the control of my security into something else's hands, and it's going to decide whether I'm secure or not. I said, my customers can lose data today, and tomorrow they still don't want to block because the business is that important. I think there's a whole business mentality that they have to get over before they are going to put that kind of control into anything else's hands. They won't even put it in their own hands at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think, AI is going to make decisions that are just as, harmful as humans can, not more, especially in the security space. If you think of things like drones, soon, right now, like a human has to pull the trigger and shoot a missile, and they can have false positives and false negatives in that space as well. But, with drones soon, one day they're going to, allow them to have AI decision making to shoot at people. But the problem there is not that they're going to go and take over the world and, become Skynet. It's just they're going to make the same mistakes that a human could. You shot at the wrong target, you crash, you hit a mountain when you shouldn't have hit the mountain. It's going to be problems like that. I think the time when, AI will have feelings and have greed and things like that, that's, whenever we map the human brain and can start to build against that, then that's when that might be a problem, but not for a while.
I have been working with decisioning technology for about, let's just say, over 10 years, and I have never seen in my life a set it and forget it system. All of those systems are tended to by human caretakers who spend a lot of time and energy sampling and checking and rechecking and getting very angry phone calls and emails when there are false positives or false negatives, because people really hate ambiguity. So I love using this technology to ease our lives in transactional level structured situations. And I feel like there's a lot of effort that goes into optimizing these decisioning systems. So it's hard for me to imagine, my spam detection algorithm rolling off of the couch and deciding one day it's sentient, and some of these other scenarios coming to play. Machine learning learns what you teach it. So I think that we are seeing a lot of cases in public where, you better be specific and you be really clear about what you're teaching your machine learning, because it will learn whatever it sees.
Great. Any quick thoughts on what we've been talking about before I throw it open to the to the ravenous mob here?
I think to Alex's last point, I mean, AI requires a lot of HI right now, human intelligence, right? And it will for a long, long time to come. These aren't magical systems. They do learn what you teach them, and you can teach them some really wrong stuff, right? So, and the difference between, by the way, a good data scientist and an awesome data scientist is orders of magnitude in terms of what they can get out of this technology. So it's going to be systems that are developed by humans for quite some time, and we will have a significant involvement in all these systems.